Hello everyone. I've hesitated to make this video in a way because it's going to come across as a little bit negative, but I just can't avoid expressing my feelings about a wargaming subject. Not particularly controversial or important, but it's really bugging me. So I just wanted to give you my feelings on something. I recently purchased a new set of rules from Studio Tomahawk called V for Victory, and I was aware, even before I bought it, that a lot of YouTube content was referring to it as 5 for Victory. Now, some people recently have tried to kind of mollify that, what to me is a gross mistake, by saying that it's a French author, and that in Britain V for Victory is a recognised expression of the spirit during the Second World War, and it meant something different for the French, and that the V in the title of the rule book has was intended to be the Roman numeral 5, and that was the whole series of ridiculous excuses, really, such as 5 was the score that a marksman needed to obtain, or I don't know, just crazy things. Someone recently saying, I heard 5 is the score you need on the roll of a dice for success. It's just nuts. It really has wound me up for a whole variety of reasons. I've got an old magazine open here with a picture of Winston Churchill giving his famous V sign to jubilant crowds in Whitehall on May the 8th, 1945, after Germany had surrendered. So let's just zoom in on that a little bit. So there you can see Winston Churchill's famous V sign. I mean, as it happens, on the opposite page, just here, you can see a released prisoner of war, or a prisoner of war about to be released, giving the same V signal. But let's keep the camera focused on Winston Churchill's fingers there. That symbol, yes, did originate in Britain, but it swiftly was taken up by the French resistance. So to try and infer that the V symbol had an alternative meaning to the French, or had no meaning to them at all during the Second World War, is complete nonsense, absolute complete nonsense. If you look at the Wikipedia, just look at the internet, look at Wikipedia, and you'll see there's an entry on Wikipedia, one of the paragraphs about on the subject of the French resistance. In Britain, the letter V had been adopted as a symbol of the will to victory, and in the summer of 1941, the V cult crossed the English Channel, and the letter V appeared widely in chalk on the pavement, walls, and German military vehicles all over France. V remained one of the main symbols of resistance for the rest of the occupation. Now, is it possible that the authors, Alex Bushell and so on, the authors of V for Victory, weren't aware of that? Absolutely not. So if if the if it was their intention that the V was the Roman numeral 5, then it's a sign of complete and utter ignorance, and should be condemned. But I don't believe for 1 minute that it was their intention. As I say, I've bought the rules. I haven't really looked through them, but I have scanned them to try and find any kind of reference to the title and what their intention was, and that I can't find anything in it. If there was indeed their intention, then really ridiculous. My own feeling is that some pundit on YouTube made the remark and then wanted to hide his or her own ignorance, so began, sort of making excuses for why they believed that the V was the Roman numeral 5. But it's too late now to actually stem this confusion that's arisen over it. All I really wanted to do was to make this video and point out how the V sign was just as significant for the British as it was for the French. I think part of the reason why it did get transferred so swiftly to France after France had fallen to the Germans was that the British rapidly set up a radio station to communicate with the French and with the French resistance, and when it was off air, they would keep the channel open, as it were, by repeatedly signalling the Morse code V, which stood for V for victory, and that code is ... dash ... dash ... dash. It went on and on all the time that they weren't on air, and then it allowed French recipients to sort of tune in on the signal, so that they were there at the set times in order to receive coded messages for the resistance and so on. You can hear that in I don't know whether it's genuine, a genuine record of the broadcast, or whether it was done for the film. But at the opening sequences of the film The Longest Day, it begins with that ... dash, and then breaks into a French broadcast. Hopefully I would have played that to you at the beginning of this video so that you will know what I'm referring to. But V for victory was just as important to the French as it was to the Germans. It's an absolutely ignorant and uneducated statement to say that V stood for 5. And what makes it even more irritating is the fact that wherever it began, and it might have sort of spread quite quickly, but people just don't want to acknowledge their own mistake. Just come clean and acknowledge it. The only possible tenuous kind of link with the letter 5 is that Beethoven's Fifth Symphony begins with that 4-note sentence, as it were, da 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 da, and that was actually used in itself as a kind of coded sign of resistance by playing Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, particularly the opening, and that was particularly galling for the the Germans, because of course Beethoven was a German composer, so it made it impossible for the Germans to ban the broadcast of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. So that was quite a clever device. So you will often hear, trying to remember the old, I think it was called Manhunt, TV series way back in the 1960s, and they used Beethoven's Fifth Symphony as the theme music to the actual series on television. But anyway, that is the really kind of as I say, tenuous link to the number 5, and that's the only thing I can think of. But you know, it's as I say, it's too late to put a stop to the nonsense now. But I just wanted to put this out there, and it's a good example in a way of how how the internet so easily propagates disinformation without there actually even being a deliberate attempt to misinform people. It's just a mistake that gets into the into the ether and then just gets broadcast. And this one is, as you can tell, has particularly got me riled. But anyway, there we are. I've got it off my chest now. Take it as you will, this video. I don't care. I just needed to voice my frustration and irritation at this whole nonsensical not argument even that's going on, but conversation that's going on YouTube. Put in my own contribution and call it a day. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. Bye for now.